At 22, I lived in a shoebox of a one-bedroom house, in the cheapest corner of town. It was a Friday night, and after clocking out of work, I jumped online to game with my friends. The weather outside was the perfect excuse to stay in, a heavy downpour drumming a steady rhythm on the roof, and with no work or school obligations looming the next day, we were in for a marathon session. We gamed for a solid 2 hours before a sudden sound hit the brakes on our virtual adventure. A thump. Muffled, but undeniably from upstairs. My first thought was a leak in the roof. A quick inspection revealed otherwise. The only rooms upstairs were a single bedroom and a half bath, and both were bone dry. Satisfied, I headed back downstairs and rejoined my friends. We gamed until the early hours of the morning. The rest of the crew finally fell asleep around 2 a.m. I shut down the computer and settled on the couch with a bowl of snacks, browsing YouTube on my phone. 10 minutes in, another thump jolted me from my YouTube trance. Upstairs again. But this time, the sound was muffled, almost as if it originated from the roof itself. A more thorough search, bedroom, bathroom, every nook and cranny, yielded nothing. It definitely wasn't thunder. The sound vibrated through the walls with a distinct feel, like something solid was making contact with the house. 10 minutes of searching wasn't enough to quell my growing unease. Determined to get to the bottom of it, I threw on some shoes and braved the downpour, venturing outside to see if something looked different or moved. At first, everything seemed normal. Then, I spotted a tree branch getting a little too friendly with the side of the house. It was a big, sturdy branch, but a good few feet away from where the sound seemed to be coming from. The rain wasn't causing it to sway much, making it seem unlikely the culprit. But as I peered closer, I noticed a small window partially blocked by the branch. It was positioned higher than my bedroom window, suggesting it belonged to an attic. An attic? This realization struck me like a bolt of lightning. I had no idea this house even had one. There was no obvious hatch, and the roof's angle didn't suggest enough space for one. This hidden window was the first clue. Curiosity gnawed at me. Back inside, I embarked on a mission to find the hatch that had to be there somewhere. A minute of searching paid off, a small, smooth panel perfectly disguised in the ceiling of my bedroom closet. It blended in seamlessly, the only giveaway a faint line where it opened. I grabbed a box, hoisted myself up, and pulled down the panel. A wave of stale, rotten air hit me first, followed immediately by another thump from below. The attic was a cramped space, barely 2 feet tall at its highest point. Cautiously, I climbed the rickety ladder and peered into the dark tunnel. At the end, by the window, a figure hunched down on all fours, staring right back at me with wide and red glowing eyes. My heart lurched, and I almost lost my footing on the ladder, scrambling to get down and escape. I heard shuffling as I grabbed my phone and ran out of the house, dialing 911 from the safety of my driveway. The police arrived promptly and apprehended a man, a homeless person who, it turned out, had scaled the tree to reach the window and made himself a home in my attic for at least a week without me ever being the wiser. The absurdity of the situation boggled my mind. I moved out shortly after that experience. Every house I've lived in since has undergone a meticulous attic inspection, a habit ingrained in me from that night. But one thing continues to haunt me, the image of that man at the end of the attic, his eyes reflecting a mix of fear and anger as he stared back at me in the dim light. It's a memory that serves as a constant reminder of the unexpected encounters life can throw your way, even in the supposed comfort and privacy of your own home.
So, this was about 3 years ago. I was on vacation to see my brother, who lived 6 hours away. Since his apartment's a one-bedroom, I rented a house for my stay. It was close to his place and priced like hotels, making it a no-brainer. I arrived early, met my brother for lunch, grabbed groceries, and settled into the rental around 5 p.m. It wasn't fancy, just a couch, TV, and bed, but for the price, I wasn't picky. After a long day, I hit the hay by 9 p.m., eager for some shut-eye. An hour later, I was still awake. Finally drifting off, I woke up to pitch darkness. It felt like the middle of the night. Before I could check the time, I heard something outside the room, slow footsteps creeping down the hall, followed by a soft door closing. Silence. My body froze. I lay there, staring into the darkness, every muscle tensed. After a minute of silence, I got up and peeked down the hall. At the far end, I saw the front door, the one I heard close. No clue if the person was still in the house or gone. Quietly, I checked the other rooms. Nobody. The only sign of someone being there. The unlocked front door. No footprints, nothing missing. I locked all the doors and then called 911. They arrived quickly, but their advice was useless: lock the doors and contact the owner. No real investigation. So, I stayed up all night, unable to sleep. Vigilante. Waiting for anyone to appear. I was very scared. In the morning, I called the owner to explain. He promised to change the door code, which calmed me down a bit. I spent the day out with my brother, grabbing dinner and drinks, and getting back to the rental between 8 and 9 p.m. Feeling sleepy but nervous, I plopped down on the couch. Every time I started to doze off, fear of the intruder returning would jolt me awake. I fell asleep for what seemed to be a couple of minutes, dreaming of the intruder seeing me asleep and hurting me. A night terror. It felt so real. The nightmare woke me. Desperate for sleep, I decided to do another sweep of the house. Living room, kitchen, then down the hallway to the bedroom. Closet check, bathroom check. Just as I was about to leave, I heard running footsteps approaching the room. I whipped around the corner and caught a glimpse of a large man slamming the bedroom door shut. I heard him head towards the living room. Frozen in place, I listened. He ransacked the living room and kitchen for a couple of minutes before the front door slammed shut again. This time, the police came quickly, joined by the homeowner. The living room and kitchen were a disaster, furniture scattered, cabinets open, contents strewn everywhere. A closer look revealed nothing missing, though. It seemed like he was after something specific. But what? The whole ordeal left me shaken. I left the rental immediately and got a hotel room for the rest of my stay. Never heard anything else about the situation. I guess they never caught him. Now I am wondering if he was even real. Or if I just imaged him. The whole thing left me with a ton of unanswered questions. Haunting me the most is how this intruder managed to hide in the house I meticulously checked earlier. The thought of him being there unseen, possibly for an extended period, sends chills down my spine even years later. Did he watch me sleep? What if I had fallen asleep on the couch that night, oblivious to the danger lurking in the house? The entire experience left me constantly looking over my shoulder, a sense of unease lingering long after the vacation ended.